Oh, you know what it is, Anik and Florian Rewind, back in your life in advance of UFC 300, live and exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. John Anik alongside former three-time UFC title challenger Kenny Florian. As many of you know, we are the hosts of the Anik and Florian podcast, which started in April of 2015. But this is our side hustle, right? A little shoulder program. And here on UFC Fight Pass, we haven't done one of these in a long time. And oftentimes when we did these, Kenny, we would focus on some of your past fights, big fights involving soon-to-be pay-per-view headliners, but I guess you're probably happy to not be looking back at some old Kenny Florian footage today.
Dude, I hate watching my fights. But listen, we have UFC 300. This is the biggest event of all time in UFC history, right? So very appropriate that we're back for this big card.
So essentially, the rub of the Anik and Florian Rewind is really to look back at an early career fight involving a major player on an upcoming pay-per-view fight card. So today's Rewind is going to focus on two different UFC fighters, the light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira, and the budding UFC featherweight contender, Diego Lopez. So let us begin, Diego Lopez. Now, Diego Lopez, truly one of the breakout stars, Kenny, for the UFC in 2023. In terms of UFC tenure, he's the youngest guy to be competing at UFC 300, just a few fights in the promotion, 29 years of age, and now he'll face Super Sadiq Youssef. Many of you will remember his short-notice UFC debut against the credentialed Movsar Evloev. That was UFC 288. Then he submits Gavin Tucker in 98 seconds, KOs Pat Sabatini in like a minute and a half as well. Just remarkable that he has now earned a spot on such a coveted card, a historic card. But today we're going to look back to November 29th of 2019. And at this point in time, Diego Lopez had won 5 fights in a row. He became the LUX Fight League featherweight champion. He's on the cusp maybe of Dana White's Contender Series at this point in time, but this fight we'll look at today, it's for the LUX Fight League featherweight title, the first title defense for a young Diego Lopez, and it comes against our old friend, 6-time UFC veteran Marco Beltran. So let us now roll the tape. Dateline, Monterrey, Mexico. Still got that emo haircut, Ken Flo.
Yeah, I love it. You know, he's at such an advantage that he goes, you know what? I don't want to see out of my eyes. I need hair that's so long it covers my eyes. That's how much better than you I am. No, but seriously, Lopez is just so good everywhere, man. A real promoter's dream, exciting everywhere.
Now, of course, in this fight, Marco Beltran is the UFC veteran, but you just see the excitement / composure of Diego Lopez already. And at this point in time, he's already cornering Alexa Grasso, right? He has already accrued a ton of experience, just not able to quite get to the UFC. And at this point in time, Diego Lopez seemingly just a couple of fights away.
Well, you kind of nailed it. I mean, that's what's most impressive is at his age, having that level of composure. And again, this is a guy that is highly skilled. These are the kind of fighters that we're getting now in the UFC, guys that are just so complete everywhere. That was not the case when I was fighting. This is a whole new breed of fighter right here.
Marco Beltran in the black, Diego Lopez is in white. This fight did air exclusively here on UFC Fight Pass in November of 2019. And Lopez not necessarily showcasing that bat out of hell style we've come to expect in the UFC. Nice flurry by him there. Huge takedown for Lopez a minute in. Wow.
Yeah, just a beautiful entry there. Clean combination. Awesome level change up against the cage. Hits that double leg. And now in great position to start landing some ground and pound or advanced position here. And there he goes, right in the half guard.
So just as I suggest that Lopez and Beltran are feeling each other out a little bit, Lopez goes offensive and nice transition by him to the ground. Half guard now. Looks like maybe Beltran trying to control posture here with 3.5 to go.
Yeah, he's trying to wrap up that arm. Now he's in Z guard, is Beltran. But right now, Lopez has excellent head position. You see him just put that head right underneath the chin of Beltran, and that makes it very difficult to go on the offensive with your submission game.
All right, Lopez now working inside the open guard of Marco Beltran.
Yeah, Lopez, again, just keeping good position, Again, one thing you want to do when you do get this top position, the number one thing you want to do is make sure your opponent doesn't have an opportunity to get back to his feet. So he's keeping good position. He's keeping that head right about sternum level or higher. That makes it very difficult for the opponent on bottom to posture up and post his hand on the mat. So Lopez doing a good job making sure that he's keeping his opponent on bottom, landing, chipping away with ground and pound as he waits for one of those opportunities to try to advance his position.
Watch the full Anik and Florian rewind for UFC 300 on UFC Fight Pass.